Hey listeners, it's Paul Andriola here. Why not join our community at Small Cap Discoveries, where we offer our members direct access to some of the best microcap investment opportunities available. Our members are getting access to premium microcap financings, research reports, and direct access to management. Sign up today at www.smallcapdiscoveries.com.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Small Cap Discoveries conference call. Today on our call, we have the CEO, Gilles Gagnon from Ceapro. Ceapro trades on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol CZO and on the OTC under CRPOF. The company is currently trading at 59 cents with roughly 78 million shares outstanding, or about a $46 million market cap. I'd now like to hand it over to Paul Andriola.
Thanks a lot, Trevor. Yes, Ceapro, a company that we've been speaking about quite a bit internally. I think everybody knows I'm a shareholder now and a pretty big fan of the business. And so very excited to have Gilles with us today. Gilles, welcome. I'm going to hand it over to you. You have a presentation. I'll let you get through with your presentation, and we'll follow up with some questions.
Yeah, thank you, Paul and Trevor, to have organized this presentation this afternoon, and thank you all for attending to this presentation on Ceapro. Just as an aside, Ceapro means Cereal Advanced Processing. It was the very first biotech company in the agriculture sector, founded back in 1997 in Canada. So already we are celebrating the 25th anniversary of the company this year. So for sure that I'm going to make some forward-looking statements, so bear with me, and please look at the official files with SEC for sure if I get too excited about what we have to offer. So in a nutshell, Ceapro so far has been acting as a contract manufacturer. The expertise, we are experts at developing, at extracting active ingredients from plants, and mostly from oat. When I joined the company 10 years ago, back in 2012, the company, they were extracting many compounds, but I said, you know what, let's focus on two value drivers and let's build a very solid base business by serving the cosmetic sector with these two value drivers that are coming from oat, beta-glucan and avenanthramides. So let's make it a revenue-generating base business, very solid, profitable, that will enable us to expand from a contract manufacturer, to expand our business model to nutraceuticals and pharmaceuticals with different formulations of these same active ingredients using our own enabling technologies. So in a nutshell, from a contract manufacturer serving cosmetic and expanding the business model with the same active ingredients to serve the nutraceuticals and pharmaceutical sector. So, so far we have been very successful. Of course, there were some bumps on the road, but at the end of the day, we succeeded at providing an average double-digit growth per year over the last decade. And in 2021, that was our best year, where we have recorded $17.2 million of sales compared to 15.1 the previous year. And we booked a net profit of 2.8 million for the year 2021. And this enables us to invest in R&D to expand our business models in nutraceuticals, pharma, and using our enabling technologies, of course. I presented that at the last AGM, but I think it's worth it to go back and look at the highlights from 2021. We have completed a 3-year program with University of Alberta, where the main outcome was the development of a compound called alginate, and this is becoming a very important asset for the company. We have expanded our collaboration with the Montreal Heart Institute for a new clinical study using our avenanthramides for an upcoming phase 1 study where avenantramide will be used as an anti-inflammatory product. we have entered into a research collaboration with the famous Angiogenesis Foundation from Boston for beta-glucan and avenanthramides. We have announced results from a clinical trial with the beta-glucan pill. They were not as expected, and at the end of the day, hindsight, of course, has all solutions. We realized that the formulation might not have been the right one. We should have used a solution instead of a pill. And we have announced additional funding support, mostly from the Canadian government, for the development of our PGX technology, which is going to be a game changer for the company. Very important, at the beginning of 2022, we have announced a supply and distribution agreement with our very long-time partner, Symrise. We have appointed to the board 2 seasoned executives, Mr. Ronnie Miller, who has been the CEO of Roche Canada for 22 years, between year 2000 up to 2022. And we are very, very fortunate to have Mr. Miller to have accepted to serve on our board, and he's now the new chairman of the board. And of course, he knows the pharmaceutical sector extremely well, as well as Mrs. Geneviève Foster, who is a corporate lawyer with an extensive experience in the healthcare sector, and she has signed she has participated to the closing of many corporate transactions. We had Dr. Siegfried, the inventor of the PGX technology, who was invited as a keynote speaker at the recent international conference of on international supercritical fluids that was held in Montreal. And 2 weeks ago, we have announced the appointment of Mrs. Sigrun Watson as our new Chief Revenue Officer. Of course, she will take care of growth and business development and make sure that we grow our base business and sign some alliance for the products that we are going to offer. She has an extensive experience in the pharmaceutical industry. She is a nutritionist by training, which is extremely relevant for our intent to expand into the nutraceutical sector as well. So we are very, very pleased with their appointment as well. So this base business, as I mentioned, has served us very well over the last decade. And as you can see, we got an average growth of over 10% per year over the last decade. And in 2021, the same trend continues. After 1 quarter, we have shown an increase in sales of 31% compared to Q1 2021, which is quite an achievement. And of course, we are going to announce Q2 results in at the end of August. At the end of the day. But it looks like Symrise is doing a fantastic job at selling our active ingredients. So this is a very, very promising and exciting. And in terms of a gross margin in Q1 22, we have looked at the gross margin of 64% compared to a gross margin of 48% in Q1 2021. And of course, it's mainly because we have integrated our production operations under one roof compared to the fact that we have been operating in 2 different locations for the last 3 years. But now we are fully integrated in a state-of-the-art facility in Edmonton, and we are seeing this kind of efficiency, which is very interesting. In terms of if we look at the breakdown of compounds in 2021 versus 2020, overall we had an increase of 35% in terms of volume increase. Avenanthramides representing 65% of our revenue, beta-glucan around 20%, and oat oil around between 12 and 15%. But avenanthramides is by far our flagship product, which brings the most revenues as well. And for Q1, you can see the same pattern here where avenanthramides, there was an increase of 35% of Q1 2022 over 2021. And what is very, very interesting here is that already after 1 quarter, we have delivered 1/3 of full year in 2021. So this is quite an achievement, and kudos to our production team. So all this is being made in our state-of-the-art facility based in Edmonton, where we extract our active ingredients to serve the cosmetic using an ethanol fractionation process. We purify our avenanthramides using our chromatography purification technology. And of course, we are developing chemical complexes using our pressurized gas expander technology, this famous PGX technology that we've been talking. And all this, of course, being profitable, enable us to reinvest in the building, for the building of a pipeline here. So Old Beta-Glucan, we said it, it's on the cosmetic sector. You will find Old Beta-Glucan in a brand like Neutrogena. Yeast Beta-Glucan is our new kid on the block. It's being developed as an immune booster and as a potential inhalable therapeutic. We have avenanthramides, where on the market as a cosmeceutical, avenanthramides is the unique active ingredient in the well-known brand Aveeno from Johnson & Johnson, and we are going to develop it as an anti-inflammatory product as well. And we have several chemical complexes that are being developed using our PGX technology, and mostly using coenzyme Q10, this famous energy booster. And also we have a research license for cannabis. If we look at all these compounds now, if we look at avenanthramides being developed along with the Montreal Heart Institute, we have developed two forms of a pill, 2 dosages, one at 30 milligram and another one at 240 milligram. And the protocol has been designed, completed with 72 patients that will be part of that study. The objective, of course, is to look at safety and tolerability of this compound. Of course, there are many studies that have been conducted with avenanthramides, but none of them have been conducted with a pure powder formulation as we do, as we have developed. The secondary objectives is to look at the pharmacokinetics, i.e. how long does it take from when you swallow it through the elimination until you eliminate it, and how long does it stay into the blood and your body. And also there is something that we have discussed with Health Canada. It's okay to have a safety and tolerability study with healthy volunteer, but I would like to have a small group of patients suffering from mild inflammation and from mild inflammation in conditions like metabolic syndrome. So just to get a hint of activity or efficacy. It might take a little bit longer to achieve this study, this phase one extended to a phase 2A potentially, but at the end of the day, we will gain time if it prevents us from filing another phase 2 protocol with Health Canada. So it will be great if we can get a hint of activity as part of that study. And Health Canada seems comfortable with this notion, but of course we are waiting for their green light, and usually they take about 90 days to provide their answers, to provide their no objection letter to start a clinical trial. New kid on the block here is the yeast beta-glucan. We have worked a lot with beta-glucan from oat, and now we are working with beta-glucan from yeast, which is a byproduct from the beer industry. There are 8 compounds, 8 yeast beta-glucans that are on the market today, and they come from a spray drying technology. Now, when we clean this yeast beta-glucan with our PGX technology, we realize that, as you can see at your extreme right, that we have several particles of yeast beta-glucan, spherical particles, almost the same dimension. And this is very, very, very important. and you can see on that slide as well, where the particles are all the same size, between 5 and 10 microns. And this size is very important, because if we want to conduct a study for lung fibrosis using this as an inhalable therapeutic, the particle size has to be lower than 10 microns. And at the end of the day, we are obtaining particles between 2 and 5 microns, making it a suitable size for inhalation. So this is very important. So as we said, yeast beta-glucan has been known to be an immune booster for many years. It's been on the market, but when we process it with our PGX technology, we are obtaining small particles that will enable us to conduct additional studies as an inhalable therapeutic. We have conducted in vitro studies with a California-based company called In Vivo Gene, and we have discovered that the yeast beta-glucan is specific to one receptor on one kind of white blood cells, the macrophage, that are located in the lung and that are responsible to trigger the inflammation process. So the cytokine storm, as we call in COVID-19. So we have realized that our product binds specifically to that receptor and is 5 times more potent than existing commercial formulations. So this is very important. And in parallel, McMaster University are conducting animal studies with our yeast beta-glucan to find out about the potential of yeast beta-glucan to act as an anti-inflammatory product when it is inhaled. And the key findings is that, of course, as I said before, the particle size is suitable for inhalation. There was no safety issue, no acute lung injury or damages of the blood vessels. So we are on the right track with that study with McMaster. Results are being looked at the moment. It's part of a PhD thesis from a student, and hopefully that we will be able to disclose pretty soon, and that would allow us, of course, to, depending on the results, to start thinking about the design of a phase 1 trial of yeast beta-glucan as an inhalable therapeutics. So if we look at the milestones that we envision in 2022, our goal here, because we have a plethora of potential applications with our products in nutraceuticals, pharma, cosmeceuticals, but as I said, we have to prioritize, and here with our avenanthramides, we wish to initiate a phase 1 clinical trial during the last quarter of this year. With yeast beta-glucan, we want to complete the animal studies with McMaster University, develop a pharmaceutical grade formulation and the medical device as well. So in the lab, we can simulate lung inhalation through the lungs, and also design the phase 1 protocol for lung fibrosis, depending on the animal results. And as an immune modulator, we are developing an oral formulation at pilot scale. So that's one of our goals, to develop yeast beta-glucan as an immune booster this year at pilot scale. But for that purpose, of course, we need to develop the PGX technology and we need to scale up the technology. So they are directly related one to the other. With new chemical complex, we have developed new chemical complex, as you have seen on the slide with the pipeline. And the goal here is that we wish to complete animal bioavailability studies with University of Alberta. And the goal here is to demonstrate that we can bring coenzyme Q10 to the targeted tissues using a carrier like alginate to carry the CoQ10 to the target tissue, because CoQ10 is it doesn't dissolve very easily in water. it is hydrophobic instead of hydrophilic. So you can dissolve it in oil, but this is tough to manufacture. What you buy at Costco in an oil capsule, this is really in oil, and that's the only way to make this compound bioavailable. But when you mix it with our alginate produced using our PGX technology, then we wish to demonstrate that we bring it to the target tissue. Cannabis, we wish to complete the development and launch a CB line using our Juvante product line for medical use only. This is very important. I have always said that we wanted to stay away from recreational use. So far, given what we see in the market, I think we made the right decision. So if we go ahead with CBD, it will be strictly for medical use using our Juvante product line. And at the moment we are offering as a cream, and it could be used for pain management purposes. So these are the most important milestones that we are looking at achieving in 2022. And of course, one of the very, very important aspects is to develop our PGX technology. We have in license this PGX technology 10 years ago. It takes a long time, of course, because it was from a lab. It was a lab at the lab scale. It was a concept, and here we are talking about translational research from lab to market. So over the last 10 years, we have processed several biopolymer using this PGX technology, like oat beta-glucan, since it was our very first product that we had, gum arabic, pectin, crystalline nanocellulose, chitosan. But at the end of the day, alginate is really something that comes out very, very strongly. Alginate and yeast beta-glucan, when processed with PGX, give us some very good results. And then we can develop not only immune booster, but we can develop different delivery systems as well. You can see here there's a thin strip. So it's a thin strip composed of alginate and yeast beta-glucan. So an immune booster can be delivered through that strip that could be put under the tongue, as an example, or as a skin patch. So different delivery systems to deliver this immune booster. And so at the end of the day, of course, we mentioned earlier that we wanted to go ahead with a very large commercial scale PGX unit. At the moment, we are using in our demo facility in Edmonton, we are using a 10 liters vessel where we could produce about 400,000 doses per year of a yeast beta-glucan. And of course, we wanted to go right to 1,000 liter. But that's the beauty, saying, you know what, guys, use a stepwise approach. Go use baby steps, to make sure that if you go from 10 to 50 liters, you will have the same product specifications. And then if you go from 50 to 100, you will have the same products, and then you can go to 1,000. So, of course, over the last year, we have conducted a technical feasibility study for this very large commercial unit. We have conducted the financial feasibility study as well, and that would be a big project. But before going there, we are going to go with the 50 liters capacity here in Edmonton, in a different location in Edmonton. So we will develop 50 liters up to 100 liters, and that will enable, in parallel, we will continue to develop the inhalable therapeutic yeast beta-glucan with McMaster University. But at first, we want to see how this scale up and with yeast beta-glucan and alginate will evolve here on the left side as a nutraceutical. If everything goes well, then we will be able to offer this compound at the beginning of 2024 on the market. So because we know that immune boosting market is a huge market. It's around 24 billion as we speak. It's everything market. If we look at market reports, it's going to grow 40% per year over the next 5 years. And the yeast beta-glucan market per se today is $1 billion. So this is very exciting, very promising. But in the meantime, we need to fine-tune the facility that we found here in Edmonton to achieve this 50-liter scale-up with our yeast beta-glucan. And if everything goes well, within the next 12 to 18 months, we should be on the market to offer yeast beta-glucan and or yeast beta-glucan plus alginate as an immune booster. So this is the lowest hanging fruit, as we say today. And of course, on that note, I think I will stop here and we'll answer to questions.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Gilles. One things I wanted to jump out at right away is that the core products that you sell right now, the beta-glucan and the I gotta pronounce this right, eventhramide.
Eventhramide.
Okay,
yes.
I've butchered that. What's the total addressable market for that? Like what does the sort of market look like right now, and what does that look like down the road?
Yeah, so of course there is because at the moment we are offering these to serve the cosmetics sector. So last year we sold $17 million and mostly through 10 major customers, but and through our distributor Symrise. But of course, there is a lot of potential upside with evenanthromides because at the moment it's being used mostly in the Aveeno line with Johnson & Johnson, and in this old product, you remember, Gold Bound to treat eczema. So this is where it's being used at the moment. But it could be used in at higher concentration in creams, as an example, to treat skin disease like psoriasis and eczema as well. It could be used in shampoo to alleviate itching from dandruff. And you know who's the market leader in this market, of course. So there is a lot of potential application. Beta-glucan can be used at the moment. It's this supports the anti-aging claim in a cream like Neutrogena, because beta-glucan from oat goes down to the derm level, and being a pro-collagenic factor, it promotes the formation of collagen. So this is a way to support the anti-aging claim. And Johnson & Johnson, they have their own in-house data. But nothing would prevent to develop beta-glucan as a filler, topical filler as well, given the fact that it goes down to the derm level. So instead of getting injections of hyaluronic acid, it could be a topical filler. So all these things can be developed, but there are many ideas. As I said, in order to build a solid base business, we had to make choices with these two active ingredients, and we just exploited a couple of applications. But there is a plethora of potential additional applications. Even evenanthromides can be a product to treat acne, at some point. There are some data related to the potential treatment of acne, and the mechanism of action is well known as well. As I said, at the end of the day, while we will continue to grow the base business, we will continue to grow the base business with additional applications additional customers while expanding our business model through nutraceuticals and pharma. But it's very tough to describe the potential market of avenantramides because the applications of in cosmetics, the application in nutrition, because I didn't talk about the study with University of Minnesota, where we have studied, along with PepsiCo, we have studied avenantramide as an anti-inflammatory product in exercise-induced inflammation. And we have demonstrated in a statistically significant manner that avenantramides could reduce the inflammation process or even prevent the inflammation process in exercise. We have not, of course, that study was initiated by Pepsi, who owns Quaker Oat, but they were not able to produce high concentration enough of avenantramides. This is why they called on us. But for us, and their goal was to be able to claim that when they had avenantramides to their cereals, that their cereals includes anti-inflammatory properties. So they wanted to support that claim. But for us, we think that the market is much higher if we develop it as a pharmaceutical. It will take a longer time, of course, but for that, we will conduct our own phase 1 study. And if we get some interesting data, efficacy data, or activity data, then I will out-license to a big pharma company. Because the anti-inflammatory market is huge. And here we are talking about $50 billion. Of course, there are several compounds, several classes of compounds, but here this is a natural product with hopefully a very nice safety profile.
The way you provide the product, is there any other competitors? I'm trying to get an understanding of what the competition looks like right now. Is there anybody else providing avenantramides in the way that you do, for example?
No, no. We are the only one in the world that can process it at that scale level and can offer it at that scale level, and it's all patented. From extraction process technology, from an indication aspect, and even from a chemical entity aspect, because this is an extract including about 20 molecules of avenantramides, and we characterize 3. And this has been patented, and we also have a malting technology enabling us to boost the concentration of avenantramides in oat. So at the end of the day, we are the only one that can, and the patent for the malting patent is good up to March 2031. So this is very well protected and unique, and of course we have many trade secrets.
So clearly what I'm trying to get at is if you can prove the benefit of avenantramides, you are probably the best position to benefit from that, because you're the only provider in this formulation or in this sort of quantity and quality.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have no competition.
That's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And to have a company like PepsiCo that's actually actively out there trying to make sure you get that sort of qualification or they get that validation, I think that's fantastic. Fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about, so some of the customers or some of the products you mentioned, Gold Bond, clearly Aveeno, which is owned by Johnson & Johnson. I mean, what other kind of companies would use this product? And maybe let's name some names, but probably more importantly, I'm trying to get a sense, how much more can you grow your base business right now? And with the addition of this new person that you brought on, what do you expect that to look like?
Yes. So the distribution agreement with Symrise at the moment covers 10 exclusive customers, the largest one being Johnson & Johnson. But there are many other large potential customers that are not covered. with this agreement, of course. Yeah, so Japanese, there are no Japanese customers. There are only one Chinese customer covered by the agreement with Symrise. So there are many other big players that are free, that are available. So of course we have some kind of arrangements and shake hands agreements sometimes with Symrise if they think that they can do better than us with a given customer, given their past relationship or existing relationship by offering other products. Of course, we are open to expand that exclusive list. But there are some key players out there that are still available and reachable for sure. So.
Fantastic. Now, let's talk a little bit about Symrise, because that's not a household name here, certainly in Canada. But these are not small operators. This is a very, very large organization. I think it's based out of Europe. Maybe tell us a little bit more about Symrise.
Yeah, Symrise. This is a very, in fact, this was founded over 100 years ago. This is one company based in Germany. They have 4,000 employees, 4 billion euro split equally between their cosmetic business and their nutraceutical business that they have started 5 years ago through the acquisition of Diana in US. So, but their cosmeceuticals activity, they are not only a distributor, they are also a developer, and they produce many chemical formulations. There are big manufacturing sites in Germany for Symrise. In fact, they are here today conducting an audit, and they are apparently quite pleased with what they are seeing. So this is a big organization. They have a huge portfolio of active ingredients that they are offering to their customers. And Johnson & Johnson seems to be their most important customer, though, because they are offering several other compounds for other sectors of J&J. But this is a very solid organization. They are listed, I think, in Paris Stock Exchange. But very solid. They've been a very good partner for us. In fact, when I joined Ceapro, my welcome gift from the government of Alberta, because Ceapro was operating in a bioincubator here, my welcome gift was to tell me that we had to graduate and find a place, so and fly by ourselves. So Symrise were there really to help us in the design of a facility and really from a QA perspective and quality control. They knew what were the requirements from major customers, and they were very, very helpful. So we signed a deal with them back in 2013 for 3 years. We have and that deal, they were very helpful because during that year, of course, we started the construction of this facility here in Edmonton. We didn't have much money and we're not in the best shape, financially speaking, at the time. So they provided us, we made a deal where they provided us with a prepayment check every first of the month. And that they were credited against upon the delivery of products. So they did this for 6 years, providing significant amount of money, so securing our cash flow, in fact. And when we renewed in 2016 for another 3 years, then they provided us with a loan, with a 1 million euro loan. So that was, it doesn't seem very high, but that was very helpful for us, because 2015 for Ceapro was another tough year, because construction in Alberta, prices were going up all the time. So Symrise has been a very, very long time partner, very helpful, very solid. And of course, it's not excluded that at some point they would like to co-develop some products with us as well, because they can see the potential with the PGX technology, where we could have different additional products to offer if we use a CoQ10 with alginate and put it in a cream, and they can sell it to Johnson & Johnson as an example. That would be a second generation of Aveeno. So that's one example that comes to mind. So they really like what we're doing, and this is a 3-year agreement and renewable for another 3 years for sure.
It's fantastic. So the way to look at it, I mean, they're really your distribution and marketing arm. They're doing the bulk of the sales for you. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. So yes, they represent almost 90% of our sales.
Right.
And it was, in fact, I remember we debated whether we should go ahead with our own sales force at the time, or if we should go and use the distributor model. Like a Symrise, I would say, is like a McKesson in pharma. So Symrise in cosmetics is like McKesson in pharma, a big distributor. We just look at pros and cons of going direct with the J&J of this world as an example, and given the number of locations that we will have to ship to, at the end of the day, it's better to only have one distributor, and we book the sales at the moment that the truck leave the dock here in Edmonton, and they take care of all the logistics, everything. So people were telling me, oh, maybe you sacrifice a lot of margin. At the end of the day, no, it's almost the same results, and allowing us to operate in a very lean manner.
So it clearly was helpful and responsible for a good portion of the revenue increase we've seen. But I mean, this last quarter was surprisingly better than most quarters. What was the reason for that? How can you explain the strong quarter in Q1?
Yes, in fact, avenetamides is the main driver, and the Aveeno line has grown nicely, and I think it really kicked off nicely during the COVID, where people needed to wash their hands very often, and they needed to lubricate, and I think they made a lot of additional customers. So we can see that this trend is going well, and as I mentioned, I don't have much visibility on sales from Symrise. I get forecasts, but we don't see the sales at the end customer level. But Gold Bond is a good one as well. And China, they love beta-glucan. So most of our beta-glucan is being sold in China with one pharmaceutical company through their consumer division, where they sell beta-glucan for face mask. So this is why it's being used mostly in China. There are many companies offering beta-glucan in China, but ours, we are told that is by far the best.
Is it safe to say, I get the impression that this is still sort of early on with these new products. It sounds like you guys are somewhat still innovating the market for these products. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. And of course, we didn't have the means to go direct to the end customer by ourselves, but as you say, there is a lot of potential. And Sigrun, of course, will work closely with the Symrise in opening doors for the cosmetic business. She will open doors, of course, for strategic alliances to offer our new chemical complex, alginate CoQ10 as a nutraceutical, as an example, alginate yeast beta-glucan as an immune booster. I think even before getting our results, I wanted to pave the way on the market. Usually, I'm very conservative, but from what we see now, I think, and the fact that there are 8 products on the market, so we are pretty confident about the potential of this compound.
So I think it sounds like it's pretty. It's a pretty major event, bringing the new Sigrun, I think you said was her name. This is a pretty major step for you guys. I mean, now you've got almost like an internal business development that you didn't really have before.
Yeah.
That opens up a lot more potential business, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So this is in fact, she will grow a startup within an existing business. This is how I would describe her function, by building a corporate development function within the organization and really grow this startup. Yeah,
so that's fantastic. I also want to emphasize a little bit more the PGX that we've been talking about here. This is not just a technology sort of within your business. This is a pretty revolutionary platform that really could see a lot of innovative products coming out of it. I really want to emphasize this is not just a nice to have. This could be a pretty transformational or
yes.
company building platform, correct?
Absolutely. You see, 10 years ago, we made the decision to go ahead and really develop this because we saw the potential, develop this potential technology because using extracting compounds used under supercritical conditions, because we were going to develop this technology and hold on until the end, while we have dedicated 10 years, or trying to join forces with another company or buy another compound. At the end of the day, we made the choice for the long way of the development, but hoping that the present, the adjusted risk net present value will by far exceed what we will have done on a short-term basis in the past. No, this is, and the intent here is to out-license applications, the applications coming from the use of the technology. But and we contacted many companies with our beta-glucan from oat when it is impregnated with CoQ10, and obviously, and we expected that all companies, they said, we want to license your technology platform. And I was not going to give the shop. So I said, hey, start with by taking the application, and then maybe we can talk about the technology transfer at some point. But as you say, it could be a company by itself. You know, we could have a subsidiary, a PGX subsidiary, but it can be used for different applications in different industries. Here we have elected to evolve within the healthcare sector, but we have the license for all kind of other industrial sectors as well. We have worked with nanocrystalline cellulose, like for the paper industry, where it's been a challenge, of course, to produce a very nice dry pulp to produce paper. We have worked with this. We have obtained some results, but have decided not to go that route at this point in time. But should a paper company would want to give a try, it's there. So for batteries with the electric cars coming, there is something that is possible with lithium and through once processed with our PGX technology. So I could go on and on, but I'm not the expert. Of course, Dr. Siegfried can talk about it for 3 hours for sure. But he has all this plethora of potential applications and 3D printing and whatever, name it, it's unbelievable. So it's a game changer. We decided to develop it until the end. And as I said, very important, we will go, despite the fact that it might take a little bit more time, maybe 1.5 years more than what some shareholders would want to hear. I don't want to make any faux pas before the end of the race, you know. So this is why we go step by step with our scale up. And we have seen too many startup companies making that mistake, trying to scale up big time in only one time. And at the end of the day, they just couldn't get the product developed. So it's better to go on a very, after having spent 10 years of our life with the development of this technology, we will make sure that the final steps will be successful.
Mm-hmm. Gilles, so many times I ask, what are the new products and services that you guys are working on? But I think I'm almost afraid to say that, because I can see so many that you're working on right now that you guys really do have so many sort of catalysts or potential catalysts within your business. And one of the things I love is you've got that core business that you're generating the revenue from, and just all this optionality from these new products and services. Yep. It's quite exciting. Okay, so PGX, one last question on PGX. You did mention that you want to get to sort of a more commercial scale. What sort of are the CapEx requirements? What do you think you have to spend to be able to get it to where you really want it?
Yeah, so for the large commercial scale unit that you have seen, that would allow for the production of 40 million doses of immune booster, yeast beta-glucan as an immune booster, that would be around a $40 million project. So we're not there yet. Of course, we will go stepwise, as I said, and therefore it's 10 times lower than that number for the mid-size scale, and we can finance it through cash generated from our operations.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, why don't we talk a little bit more about your financials? You are profitable, which is fantastic, yes. And growing that profitability. Maybe give us a sense of what your cash position is. What does your balance sheet look like? And then, just generally, generally, let's start with that. What does your balance sheet look like?
Yes, our balance sheet, as you have seen, this is an absolute clean balance sheet. We have no debt at all, zero. The plant here has been fully paid, $21 million, and this is a clear, solid balance sheet. So at the end of Q1, the assets were $32 million. We had in cash $8.8 million with the receivable of $3.5. And the profit that we booked after the operating profit was $2.6 million, and net profit after tax is $2 million. So and we have generated $1.3 million of cash in Q1. So at the end of the day, we are generating an average of $1 million of cash per quarter, and the cash situation at the moment is over 10 million. As we speak today, we are over 10 million.
Fantastic. So obviously, all your CapEx requirements are well financed within what you've got in the business.
Absolutely.
No need to go to the market for any extra equity right now.
No. So by developing our own portfolio, should we go M&A and want to acquire another company, that's another story.
Right.
But at the moment, we really wanted to really capitalize to continue to build that base business, that solid, grow that base business and expand our business model until we get the very first compound on the market.
Yeah. So you mentioned M&A. So that was a question I was going to ask. In the event, or would you look at M&A? Is there anything that you would look at purchasing? And if so, kind of what would you say is the fit you're looking for?
Yeah, so of course we are being approached very often, especially with this crappy market at the moment and the way that some companies are struggling. We are being approached, but no way that I want to go back in the red should we join forces with another organization. We need to look at synergy, at a very synergistic transaction that will really add value to the organization. We want to look at the fit between the technologies and the portfolio, and of course the fit between people. This is between the teams. But for the moment, I'm not really looking at M&A, despite the fact that we are being approached. We've been approached by many cannabis companies, for sure. I've been criticized big time, not getting into the cannabis business, the recreational cannabis business. But no, I did not want. I stayed the course, and in my mind, that was really only if we get into the cannabis, it will be strictly for medical use. And you see the balance sheet of many of these companies today. So I don't want to badmouth against anybody, of course, but just to say that we didn't go that route. If there would be any kind of M&A, it would be, could it be a faster way to get into the pharma market? So, going from the looking at the product pruning process from big pharma, where a compound that does not derive anything below anything over 500 million is becoming available for sales. That's something that could be looked at should we want to add some products to our pipeline, marketed products to our pipeline, or a basket of marketed products and form a small subsidiary. This is something that could be looked at. But for the moment, really, we want to fully develop the PGX before embarking or distracting ourselves too much too quickly. But we want to be successful with this PGX and the applications.
Gotcha.
And the nutraceuticals, it's so trendy. We went in medicine, the pendulum went this way with personalized medicine. And at the end of the day, there are not many products that were successful in terms of personalized medicine, except a couple, mostly sold by Roche. And then suddenly, people are coming back to what Mother Nature has given us, natural products. And oat is the oldest nutrient in the world since the world exists. And
Good
here
point.
it provides us with many, many benefits.
Absolutely. Listen, Gilles, one thing we haven't really heard about is you. You give us a little bit of a short background on yourself. This is not the first time you've done this before. You've been involved in several other successes. Yeah.
Yes. By training, I'm a pharmacologist, but I left the white coat many years ago. I did an MBA. I managed in a hospital, Sherbrooke University Hospital, until end of the 80s. Then I joined Sandoz Pharmaceuticals, this big Swiss company. And we merged with Ciba-Geigy in 1996 to form Novartis. I spent 4 years with Novartis as a corporate VP. And then I decided to join the biotech sector in year 2000 with Eterna Labs, where there was the development of an angiogenesis inhibitor head-to-head against Avastin from Roche. Our product didn't work out. Their product worked out. But interestingly, with Eterna, we formed, so there was the mother company was going to develop pharmaceuticals. But in order to develop pharmaceuticals, we needed money, and we formed a subsidiary company called Atrium Technology, where the business plan, the growth was going to be acquisition driven. So Atrium acquired 11 companies in 7 years, up to 2007. And I was CEO of Eterna, the mother company, the holding company. And my last move in 2007 was to spin off Atrium. Atrium at the beginning was a $9 million contract with Estée Lauder, so providing active ingredients in cosmetics and nutraceuticals. And following all these acquisitions, when we spun off, it was 600 million. And it was acquired by Nestle for 1.4 billion 4 years ago. Here, interestingly, with Ceapro, I am replicating this business model, the reverse way maybe. Here we have started with the active ingredient company serving the cosmetic and nutraceuticals in order to develop the pharma sector. But as you say, déjà vu to some extent. And this is why we are working maybe a little bit slowly, but in a very surely manner.
That's fantastic. Thank you for that. Let's talk a little bit about the stock. If I remember correctly, 77 million shares outstanding, roughly. What's the insider ownership? Any significant other shareholders that we should know about? What can you tell us?
Yes, so the insiders, they own 8% of the company. myself. I exercise options, in fact, this week as well. And it's 8%. There is one major shareholder that has around 9%. But at the end of the day, we are all retail investment. It's all retail. There is no institutions as we speak. So there are many investors, as you can imagine. Very, very long time shareholders, especially locally here in Edmonton, where when the company was made public in year 2000, the buyers were mostly from Edmonton and people who have evolved mostly in the oil and gas and the construction sectors. So they've been holding this their shares for all these years, I can tell.
Exactly. What is your biggest challenges you're facing? What do you think is, you know, that hurdle that you'd like to get over?
Yes, of course, finding, like many people, many companies, finding the most competent people is always key. What we are very fortunate, we have a very highly dedicated and competent and well-educated people, like just the PGX technology. There are 8 people in this section, and 6 of them have PhD as a chemical engineer or process engineer or mechanical engineer, and they come from Austria, from Portugal, from Germany, from South America. So really, we comply with immigration, I can tell you. So the biggest challenge, except the personnel, you know, our most critical factor is, since we are a natural product-based company, is the raw material, availability of raw material. Here, in this case, we are talking about oat. So it's important. It's one of the most important functions for us, material requirement planning. So if you would come and look at our warehouse today, it's a jam pack of grain that we have just received 2 weeks ago, and we made that order 1 year ago. So it's very, very, very important. We sample around, we get about 2,000 samples per year that we analyze, grain coming from anywhere on the planet, and we analyze and we pick the best one in terms of concentration of active ingredient, and we buy as much as we can. At the moment that we see a good batch, we buy it. There is no hesitation, because that's the most important risk factor for us as a natural product-based company. Wow. So this is very important. Of course, increasing costs. This is nobody is escaping this at the moment. When we talk about preservative and stuff like that, it's unbelievable. Costs are increasing all the time. But high quality of raw material and, of course, personnel are the 2 most important aspects that we are looking at.
Gotcha. And where does the best oats come from?
It's, you know, for avenanthramides, it's directly related to humidity. So it's have to be careful here, because of course I look at marketing from the end customers. But let's say that it comes from central regions of North America, okay. from Wisconsin to Saskatchewan.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Central section.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see, because you know, avenanthramides, this is like the antibody of oat, because avenanthramides, when oat grows in a humid environment, oat gets attacked by fungus, and they excrete avenanthramides to fight the fungus and destroy the fungus. Wow. So this is why it's directly related to humidity, and I call it the antibody of oat.
I like that. We're familiar with antibodies, so I like it when you place it that way.
And if you would ask me where the best comes from, it's from UK.
Okay, wow, fantastic.
It's very humid, huh?
Yeah, for sure. Well, if we grew it here in Vancouver, it would be we'd do a good job
Vancouver
there
as well. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, listen, we've got some questions. Why don't we jump on some of the questions that we've got coming in here? So one of the questions is, we sort of touched on it a little bit, but it says, is Symrise the reason for the recent increase in sales of evenanthramides? I still can't pronounce it, but yeah,
Yes, so Symrise, of course, is
yeah.
the one really pushing the products, and they have a new product manager as well, and it shows. So it's they're doing a very good job for sure.
Mm-hmm. And does Symrise own any shares of Ceapro?
If they own shares?
Do they own shares?
No.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, a question around, I don't know if you can answer this, but what's the commission structure with Symrise, or what's the business model? How do you guys get paid?
It's transfer price. It's
Okay,
transfer price, direct transfer price. Yeah.
Okay, so regardless, it's a set price, and then they pay that set price, and that's it.
Absolutely, and it's X work, so we book sales at the moment the truck leaves the dock.
Right, perfect. Okay, so here we go. If the pilot clinical study for beta-glucan as a cholesterol reducer is successful, how will you market the product?
It would have been through a pharmaceutical partner. And most likely with a partner who is offering even some statins at the moment. Yeah, because through their consumer division. Yeah, we had some partners aligned, of course, but at the end of the day, I thought the pill would be a convenient form, but at the end of the day, as we say, hindsight says all solutions, and the pill might have been too tough to dissolve. It takes too long to dissolve into the gastrointestinal tract. While if we would have used a powder formulation with water, then it would have had time to dissolve and take the cholesterol in the gallbladder and eliminate it through the intestinal system. Why we are saying this? It's because following our results, we saw that a group in Italy conducted a similar study than ours with a sachet formulation, and they demonstrated what we expected to demonstrate. So this is very interesting. So should we want to start another study with a sachet formulation, already we know that there is a precedent. Because they even use a lower percentage of beta-glucan than us. But I thought at the beginning that the pill would be more convenient. So there is the door is still open. If someone would want to in-license the compound and do that study, we would be open. But for us, we did not want to spend more money on this project for the time being, because phase 1 with the avenanthramides can be much more exciting. And in fact, this is the compound that made me join this company years ago.
Fantastic. So, I mean, we hear the term biobuck deals. Is that what we're talking about here, where a pharmaceutical company or another major partner would come in and sort of in-license, pay you guys a fee, and likely you would get a royalty in the back end type of deal?
Yes, so a typical pharmaceutical deal is composed, of course, depending on the stage at which they in-license the compound. Of course, there would be a non-reimbursable upfront, and there would be milestones upon approval of the product, and some sales milestones according to level of sales, and royalties on sales as well. So this is we are contemplating a typical pharmaceutical deal transaction.
Gotcha. Now, we didn't really talk about this, but you actually have your own line of products that you're selling online. Uvente, I think it's pronounced. How is your product different than, say, an Aveeno product or some of the other products that are out there?
So it includes both active ingredients. Instead of having one active per brand, like what J&J is doing, the beta-glucan in Neutrogena and avenanthramides in Aveeno, here the idea was to combine the two active ingredients together in the same formulation. And the idea is that beta-glucan would act as a carrier for avenanthramides, so to treat some dermatological disease. So it's more we did not put any marketing money behind Juvante to compete against Clarin of this world, because we would have needed to put $2-3 million of marketing campaign right away. So at the end of the day, we have this nice formulation. It's very effective, but we want this to be a kind of a delivery system for avenantramides in some dermatological disease, also potentially to deliver cannabis down to the derm level, so it can be applied as a pain management cream or anti-anxiety cream as well at night. So it can be, so the Juvante line will include several other potential bioactives. There is another one that is being tested in Germany at the moment. I'm told that they were successful at mixing the active ingredients together, and now they are testing it for some other potential benefits, like some forms of skin cancer, like actinic keratosis. So that could be very, very interesting. So we don't talk too much about Juvante so far because we have not put money behind, but we secured the name, which is a very nice trade name, for which we got a waiver from the big company that sells Botox, as an example, because they have a similar name and a similar subsidiary. But no, this is a line of products that we will exploit on a midterm basis. And Sigrun Watson, of course, will look at this as well, given that she has a lot of experience in selling virtually some of the compounds that she was working with over the last 3 years in her previous company.
Yeah, and I mean, so clearly early stage for Juvante product, and
yes.
Still early in the revenue cycle.
Oh yes, so we have not put money, almost a very, very low amount of money in this company so far. Yeah, and but the cannabis route might be interesting, you know.
Interesting, yeah, very interesting. Well, this is good. Basically all the questions that we really look for. There's one more question actually, and this goes way back, but customer concentration. Apart from Symrise, do you have any, Johnson & Johnson clearly through Aveeno is a big customer, but give us a sense of what your customer concentration looks like. Is there, is there customer concentration risk? I guess that's the way to ask it.
You mean the number of customers, or?
Well, just how big is Johnson & Johnson in terms of a customer?
Johnson & Johnson represents 50% of our sales. Yeah.
Gotcha. Perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, well, listen, this is fantastic. From last couple of questions here, from an investor standpoint, so from our sort of seat that we're in right now, what do you think would be the most important thing for us to watch within the business, whether it's catalysts or metrics? What should we really be focusing a lot to really understand how well you guys are doing?
Yeah, of course, as you can see, we have a very solid company now with a very solid base business. So let's watch the growth of the base business for sure. We have a very solid team as well. And we are offering a healthy balance sheet for sure, but let's have a good look, of course, at the growth of the base business, and at the development of at the results of coming from the yeast beta-glucan study as well, that I would like to provide an update by the end of the summer, and also let's have a good look at when we will get the green light from Health Canada to start the phase 1 trial, for sure. And in the meantime, of course, the bioavailability, the data from the bioavailability study with University of Alberta that we expect. I said publicly end of August, but given the lack of resources with researchers, it will be at the end of September that we will get the bioavailability data with the animal study at University of Alberta. And to be checked, of course, this is really the alginate combination with CoQ10 as an energy booster. Because years ago, we mentioned that we were successful at developing a functional drink with oat beta-glucan CoQ10, but given all the discussions we had with potential partners, we realized that it was an expensive formulation, tough to formulate as well, but we demonstrated that it was very stable and it could bring the CoQ10 to the targeted tissue. But now we had good results with alginate CoQ10 as a formulation, and I'm just waiting to have the data from this bioavailability study. If alginate carries CoQ10 to the target tissues, then I will go and present this to a potential customer, mostly involved in the drink industry as a functional drink. So what we spoke about 5 years ago as a functional drink, we have never stopped. We have never put this idea aside, and now with another potential carrier, we think that it would be possible to offer a more affordable functional drink, more affordable formulation.
I mean, so many catalysts. That's what I love about what you guys are doing. You have a lot of exciting things that are, some right around the corner, but a lot of things you're working on. Gilles, sort of last question, just basically an open-ended question here, but is there anything else that you want to make sure that everybody really understands about the business, or if there's one main thing you want everybody to walk away with today, what would that be?
Yeah, in fact, it's to really to accept the expansion of our business model from the being a contract manufacturer organization to a nutraceutical company and pharmaceutical company. Because very often I receive the comment, and I'm being asked, why don't you give some money back to the investors, since you are profitable? By asking to get this kind of a refund, of course, it's not accepting the business model. So we really want to reinvest. Instead of giving dividends, we really want to reinvest in R&D to expand in a much more value creation sector. We think so, because contract manufacturing, we could have a steady state money machines growing slowly year after year, but the expansion, should we get only one home run, the expansion will be exponential, and this share price will be history.
Well put. I like that home run potential. I certainly see it here. I think summarize it right now, very, very solid core business that's growing very nicely. You've got major customers, I think very reputable and consumers there with key brand, sort of well-known brand products, and then all this upside from these different catalysts that sounds like it's not going to take too long to find out about. So congratulations on the great quarter, by the way, and love what you guys are doing. So we've been speaking with Gilles Gagnon, Ceapro, simple CZO or CZO for American listeners, on the Venture Exchange. Gilles, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. We certainly look forward to catching up with you in the near future.
Yeah, it's a great pleasure, Paul, and thank you everyone for attending our discussion this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.